Following is a production of Locked Up Sports.
Everybody, this is Don LaGreca from the Michael K. Show. When it comes to talking sports, Bob Walters and Brett Grasso are the authority.
Can't wait.
When it comes to talking sports, they're the authority. It's Bob Walters and Brett Grasso. It's Locked Up Sports, and it starts now.
Bring them out, hey. Bring them out, yeah. Bring them out, hey. Bring them out.
Here we go. From the Brian Gunzel Studios, this is Locked Up Sports. I'm Bob Walters. We got a big one for you here today. We have Pink Sheet Handicapper from Saratoga, Sam Hollingsworth, will join us to talk about the tragedy involving Maple Leaf Mel. The Yankees start a must-have series against the Marlins in Miami after losing to the White Sox, and the Mets and Braves play tonight. That game is about as important as the Giants and Jets games in the next couple days. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Bob Walters. Like I said, we got a big show for you here today with the tragedy of Maple Leaf Mel last week in the test stakes at Saratoga. If you saw the video, you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't see the video, I mean, I would suggest a lot of you are going to go watch it just because you're curious, and you'll see just how devastating it is and how terrible it is that, you know, this beautiful animal had to be put down, and she shattered her leg. She was a great horse. She was a great filly. She was feet from the wire of her 6th win in 6 races, and just everything that goes along with it. A lot of people don't understand what happens, why they have to put the horse down, and Sam is going to join us and tell us everything we need to know about it. He was there. He is the one of the Pink Sheet handicappers at Saratoga, so he's going to give us everything we need to know. I'm not a big horse racing guy, so I can't even speak on it, you know, really that intelligently. So we got him in here, and he's going to take care of it for us and explain to us everything about what we need to do. He's also going to give you a couple winners for tomorrow. Saratoga is on Fox now every Saturday. They have Fox Saratoga Saturdays. So also, I just noticed that I forgot to take my glasses off, so I'm going to wear them for the show. Let's start with the Yankees real quick. Yankees coming off of a bad series loss in Chicago. They dropped 2 out of 3. It's the same old story. Severino was terrible, no offense, bullpen was shaky. It's the same story. I think the Yankees are, as they are teetering right, as they have been for a while now, right on the cusp of being out of it. Okay, they are 5 games back. They still haven't announced who's pitching tonight. They are going into Miami, who's a good team, an upstart young team. They're in the 3rd wild card spot. They're fighting for their lives just as much as the Yankees are, because that race is tight in the National League. And the Yankees just can't seem to get over the hump. I expect them. They need to win 2 out of 3 here. They really need to sweep, but you got to come away with at least 2 out of 3 out of this Marlins series, and it's not going to be easy. Now you got Cortez tomorrow going up against Luzardo for the Marlins. Luzardo's 8-6 with a 3.52 ERA. He's a good pitcher. He throws a hard fastball. The Yankees, the Yankees couldn't hit me at this point, to be honest with you. But then they got Cole going on Sunday. So if you can get one of these 2 games either tonight or tomorrow afternoon, they should be in okay shape with Cole going on Sunday. And then take 2 out of 3 and then take it from there. You got to start winning these games. You got to start winning these series if you're the Yankees. And as it leaked out earlier this week, it looks like Cashman is safe. His job is safe, regardless of what happens. Win, lose, you know, they go to the playoffs, they don't go to the playoffs, over 500, under 500. It seems like he's going to be back next year either way. Boone doesn't seem that much. So Boone might be fighting for his Yankee life here in this last month. They're, like I said, they're 5 games back. They're still in last place. You know, I mean, we're talking playoffs and what they need to do to make the playoffs, but let's be real, they're a last place team. It's the toughest division in baseball. It's the tightest division in baseball. They're still a last place team. There's not many divisions where mid-October, listen to me, mid-August, you're talking about the last place team and what they need to do to make the playoffs. I mean, you're not talking about the Nationals, right? And what they need to do and how they need to start winning now, or the Mets even. I mean, the Mets are home this weekend to the Braves. We pinpointed this series back about 2 months ago when the Mets, when they still had the dreams of being a decent team. And we said this is going to be a big series. Well, it turns out, like I said right there in the open, it's about as big as the Giants game tonight and the Jets game tomorrow. So the Mets, they played themselves right out of it. Like I said, there's really not much to say about the Mets. There's not much to say. What are you going to say? They're a bad team. They're playing out the string. They brought the kids up. They're losing ball games. The Mets have won 2 games. I believe it's 2 games. It might be 1. The Mets have won 1 or 2 games since the trade deadline. That's where we're at with the Mets. The Braves are the best team in baseball. They're coming in here. They're probably going to run right over the Mets. That's what I expect them to do, at least. But the Mets will probably take 2 out of 3 in this meaningless series. But around baseball, there are some big series this weekend. It's going to be a good weekend to sit around, watch some baseball. Big series. You got the Angels and the Astros. The Angels are a fascinating story. They blew it. They've fallen now 7 games out of the wild card. They are all but out of it. They are playing the Astros, who are playing well. Since getting Verlander, since adding a couple extra pieces, the Astros have really picked it up, and they are now cruising, and they should make the playoffs. The Texas Rangers and the San Francisco Giants. Texas is in San Francisco for a big series. That's another big series. The Padres in Arizona against the Diamondbacks, a big series. An NL West showdown. The Padres are right on the edge, just like kind of just like the Yankees, of falling out of it. I don't think the Padres are going to make it either, but they are. You could still discuss them as being in the mix. The D-backs are right there, neck and neck with the Giants and the Dodgers for the division. And then you got the Cubs up in Toronto facing the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are another good team, another AL East good team. The AL East could get 3 teams into the playoffs, and it looks like the Yankees. Imagine that. Imagine we said that in the beginning of the season. There'll be 3 teams out of the AL East in the playoffs, and the Yankees won't be one of them. That's what it's really looking like. I mean, theoretically, they could get all the teams in, but that's not going to happen. One team's going to miss it, and so there's good series all over baseball this weekend. And the Yankees and the Marlins, at least for people around here, is the marquee series. And it's, like I said, this is a must-have for the Yankees. They got to start winning these series. I don't care if you're on the road. You can't be losing to teams like Chicago. The White Sox are god-awful. And they just manhandled the Yankees. They beat them 9-2. Severino, terrible. There's still no word on whether Severino is going to make his next start or not. I can't imagine he will. I can't imagine. I don't know how you would justify that. There's got to be somebody else, somebody somewhere in America that's not signed or signed on the Yankees or in the Yankees minor league system can pitch a better game than Severino can 4 days from now or 3 days from now, whenever it is. Like I said, the Yankees have not announced a starter yet for tonight. They're going to have to within the next hour or so, because you have to put the lineups out by, I believe, 5 o'clock for the betting community. And they're going to have Cortez tomorrow, his biggest start that he's made for the Yankees in this year at least. And then you got Cole going Sunday. So steal tonight, steal tomorrow, and then you should be in good shape and take 2 out of 3, because you gotta expect Cole to come out and do what he does and get a win for you. But we'll see. The Marlins are a good team. Do not take the Marlins lightly. They are a good young team. They've been playing well. They are a surprise team. They are right now, if the season ended today, the 3rd wildcard team. So we'll see. They're a better team than the Yankees. Let's just be real about it. If you're into this sort of thing, preseason football, I know a lot of you are. I'm not. I won't watch it. I just won't watch any preseason football. I probably won't watch until I might catch a couple series here and there of the Giants or the Jets, but that's about it. The Giants tonight. The Giants are in Detroit tonight, 7 o'clock. First preseason game. You're not going to see much out of this team. You might get a series out of Daniel Jones. You probably won't see Saquon Barkley. Watch it if you want. I'll be watching the baseball. I'll be at work actually, but and then tomorrow night, I guess this would be watchable because Aaron Rodgers is going to take his first live action snaps in a game situation for the Jets tomorrow in Carolina, 4 o'clock. It's weird that it's still weird to me. They did it last year, but it's still weird to me that the NFL plays preseason games on Sundays. They never did that. I haven't seen anything about it as to why it's being done or anything like that, but they never played preseason games on like Sunday at 1 o'clock or Sunday at 4 o'clock, and now they have it. It's weird to me. Preseason was always like Tuesday night, Friday night, Wednesday night, like a weekday or a Friday night, 7 or 8 o'clock start. That's when preseason was always, that I at least remember it, when I used to watch it. I actually went to a couple preseason games. They are something else. They are bad product. But like I said, football is king in this country, so I know a lot of people will be watching it, so I'm going to mention it. And the Aaron Rodgers thing, taking his first snaps, I guess that's noteworthy. You're not going to see him long. I'd be surprised if he played anything more than 2 series. He'll get the ball twice. They will be ultra careful with him, because God forbid, you screw this up in the preseason. God forbid. The Jets fans will be picketing the Meadowlands on tomorrow night, or Monday morning. So the Jets, 4 o'clock tomorrow in Carolina. Giants tonight, 7 o'clock in Detroit. In Detroit. Hard Knocks. I haven't watched Hard Knocks yet. I do plan on watching Hard Knocks. I'm going to talk about it, I believe, Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever we do the show with Mark. We're going to discuss Hard Knocks. I know it's out already. I know a lot of people have watched it. I have not watched it yet, but I will watch the first episode or 2 episodes, whatever's out by this week, in a couple days, and I'll talk to you about that coming up next week. As far as Brett goes, Brett is still not with us. Still taking care of his father. Update on his father is he's still doing well as can be. It's like I said, that's a serious thing. He had quadruple bypass, so he misses in the summer. It's his summer break. Brett's taking a summer break, but he will be back. Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, Brett's not doing the show anymore, and no, Brett's doing the show. Brett's gonna still be on the show. Brett's still the co-host of the show. He's just taking a break to take care of his father, because that's what he's got to do. So now I want to get to the interview now real quick. We had, if you don't know, last week the Test Stakes, a Grade 1 Filly race in Saratoga. Maple Leaf Mel was the overwhelming favorite. She had won her first 5 races. There was never a horse ahead of her in any of those races. At any point during those races, they were all 5 out of 5 wire-to-wire wins. This was her first Grade 1 win. Now, I'm not going to show the whole video, but I'll show it here. How we'll stop it right around when she breaks down, because it's terrible. I really can't even watch it myself. But you'll see she's got a 2 or 3 length lead. She gets close to the line, and her right leg just shatters. And when you're a horse, to heal, they need to be able to stand up. They need to put weight on it. I don't know the specifics as to why they can't build something like a splint or something like that, something with their organs. They had to put her down. It happens in horse racing. I know a lot of people were up in arms about it. It's a terrible, terrible thing, especially when it's like this, and it happens in front of America on national television on the day of the Whitney. One of the biggest days, the second biggest day in the Saratoga meet. So it's a big deal. And the way it happened and who it happened to, and with Bill Parcells is the owner of the horse. He owns horses now. And listen, these guys love their horses. Okay? They don't treat them like garbage like some people think they do. They don't. They treat them like kings. And this happens. It's a calculated risk that they take. She was a great horse. She could have been even better. She was 10 feet, 15 feet from being a superstar. And like I said, I am not well versed on horse racing. I know the basics, but I don't know, I can't really intelligently speak about it, like I can the other sports. So that's why I did want to bring in a buddy of mine. I went to college with him in Plattsburgh State. He ended up going to Saratoga and becoming a handicapper, and he's a handicapper for the Pink Sheet, which is the if you're a horse racing fan, the Pink Sheet at Saratoga is the famous handicappers. He does a great job. He was with us last year giving you Derby picks. Tonight, I asked him to come on to talk about about Maple Leaf Mel, and we also get into this weekend if you want to have any action on some of the races this weekend. Like I said, you can watch them on Fox. Fox puts together a good program. I watched a little bit of it a couple weeks ago. Here's our interview with Sam Hollingsworth, one of the pink sheet handicappers at Saratoga Racetrack. All right, we are now joined by a special guest here, Sam Hollingsworth. He's one of the pink sheet handicappers at Saratoga. And if you watched last week, they had it was a devastating Maple Leaf Mel, a 3-year-old filly. She broke down right before the wire. She was on her way to her 6th win in a row. Tell us a little bit about the horse. Tell us a little bit about the race. It was a grade 1, the test stakes, correct?
Yeah, I think it goes without saying it's obviously a devastating thing to happen, not just to the sport. Everyone was there and involved and watching, but to a great horse. She never lost, other than obviously that last Saturday. And she was on her way to win. I actually had her picked on top of the pink sheet, and it sounds, almost a waste of my breath even mentioning, winning the race, but my life was taken. But I had her picked on top, and I actually changed my pick before I sent them in. I put her on 2nd, and I'm not going to say anything about how the cards fell, but it's unfortunate. She was home free. I mean, there was no horse even near her. I was fortunate enough to actually leave the track for a wedding that day, so I didn't have to face with thousands of people I had to witness in person. But obviously, she's a great horse. She lost the one race, and it was obviously a very, very unfortunate string of events that, sometimes these things do happen. I mean, she had a catastrophic leg injury. Other than that, she was sound, but it's very hard for a horse to live with a broken leg or anything like that, so they had to obviously put it out.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing. I mean, to have something like that happen, to actually see it when it was on the Whitney Day. It was on a big crowd. Yeah, it's a perfect kind of perfect scenario. There's Bill Parcells' horse, the story with the trainer and everything. If we'll get into that in a second. The trainer was, but first, actually, let's first get into the how does something like this happen? Does she just take a bad step? What does something like that happen?
I mean, I don't know enough about the animal science about these things. I do know that growing up in Saratoga, being a part of the track for as long as I have, that these things certainly do happen. I've obviously witnessed my fair share of them in the mornings and even during race day. And it's obviously, it goes without saying, it's the hardest part of the game. It's very, very hard to get through. I know people who haven't gone back to the track since last Saturday because of how disturbed they were. And there's people that, we grieve over these animals like we do, a part of our family. And for the trainer and the owner and the connections, I mean, I'm sure that Maple Leaf Mel was like a part of their family. Certainly was the anchor of that small stable. Obviously, Coach Parcells, lives in Saratoga now. He's been there for a while. He's a big part of the horse racing game around here. He doesn't have a boatload of success, but he certainly has his fair share of winners. But safe to say that was one of, if not the best horses he's had, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, no, she was she was 5 for 5. She's never had a horse in front of her. She was feet from the wire. When something like that happens, a lot of people look at horse racing now and they'll say, oh, it's barbaric. I'm not one of those people. I don't think it is. I know these horses are loved by their owners, by their trainers, that they're given the best of the best. Especially at Parcells, I heard an interview with him, and he had stated that he equates winning a grade 1 race like the test stakes to a playoff win. And anybody that knows anything about NFL coaches, they know how big and how close to their heart NFL coaches hold playoff wins. Explain to us why it's not a barbaric sport and why this is just a kind of calculated risk in something that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really liked to have to offer some validity behind the sport. People that don't like it or it's not for them, I'm never going to disagree with that. I do know that, there's not many sports out there that, a competitor may lose its life. So it's obviously a very hard thing. And I would never say to somebody like, you got to give it a chance or you're wrong. I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But, like you said, I know many racehorses, past, present contenders. They're great souls. They're just like a dog or a cat or any other animal that you're close with. They have personalities. Some of them are sweet and kind. Some of them are what we call sharks, and they'll take a bite out of your arm or your neck and just kind of get away from me. But they have personalities, and they're great. They're great, just great beings, and they're so beautiful. And to be able to connect with them, everybody back there is an animal lover, and when these things happen, it breaks everyone's heart, especially the people that are owning them or training them with them every day. I've been lucky enough to cross paths with a couple, really great racehorses once or twice, and I always feel a connection to them. So it's tough. I obviously I don't think it's a barbaric sport. I know that these animals cost oftentimes thousands, if not millions of dollars. They make a lifetime worth of memories for the people who, whether they own them, bet them, or just go and watch them. I mean, there's things that my own 6-year-old son will bring up about horses that he's seen in his young life that I can tell he's well on his way to be like someone like myself or anybody who grows up around the track. It certainly is a special cup of tea. Maybe it is not for everybody, but I certainly think that there is far more good than the bad things that do happen. But I think it's important for people to realize that people like different things. These horses get treated great. I'm not going to try to justify some of the really sad, bad things that happen, because obviously none of these things are intentional or on purpose.
There's bad things that happen in every sport, though.
And it's a high risk game. They're moving at 30, 40 miles an hour. They got a person on their back while they're doing it. The jockeys themselves are risking their lives every day. I mean, there's often a line that people often refer to, and there's no other profession in the world where an ambulance follows you around when you work all day long, and jockeys have that every day. And I can never even think of how many times I've seen a jockey get put in an ambulance or carted off or carried off or hopped off helping a horse. It's at the end of the day, I mean, it's really because the horses touch our hearts, and we love that. Obviously, it's fun to be able to make money and be able to look nice and spend time with your family and make memories. But at the end of the day, without these animals, a huge part of many people's lives would be missing.
Who was the jockey, and is he okay?
Joel Rosario is a jockey. He is actually back riding now. He's good. He was obviously taken to the hospital and looked over and made sure he was all good. Obviously, it looked pretty bad for him as well. And luckily, he is okay. I think he was off his mounts for a couple of days, but he's back riding now.
He's a world-class jockey too, correct?
He's been on board some of the greatest horses. He wins many races at Saratoga every year for the last decade plus. He's definitely he was the regular rider of Maple Leaf Mel, and if I had to guess, he'd probably be on the next Mel horse, which I would hate to overshadow Maple Leaf Mel, but Maple Leaf Mel's stall was empty for a few days, and the trainer Melanie Giddings actually has another horse owned by Coach Parcells, properly named Mel's baby sister, and Mel put that new Mel horse in the same barn. So I would think that Rosario would probably ride them and ride her, and I would hope he would, and I'm sure he would. That would mean a lot to him as well.
Now, do you know the trainer, Melanie? Melanie Giddings?
I don't know her personally. I've certainly seen her around. I'm sure that all of the media and attention that she's gotten, obviously not attention in the way she wanted it. Probably not the best time to approach her or try to, but she's a very good trainer. She's obviously been out on her own for not incredibly long. Hasn't had a bunch of success, but she certainly will, and she's done a great job since she's been out there.
Yeah, that was her. That would have been her first Grade 1 win. For people who don't know, her name's Melanie Giddings. She's 39 years old. She's a rookie trainer. The horse was named after her. She came down a couple years ago with stage 4 ovarian and cervical cancer. She's now in remission. She had a very special bond with this horse, and that just makes it even worse.
Yeah, I mean, she was an assistant for a well-known trainer, Jim Englehart, and he originally had the horse, and then when Melanie went out on her own, I believe, she kept the horse. Parcells decided to keep the horse with her, and in all amicable. Englehart was for it. Obviously, Melanie's for it. Bill was for it. So it's good to see that she was able to get a great horse that she was so close with already. Obviously, very unfortunate chain of events here, but there's always these silver linings in these things, and I think Mel's baby sister is a nice positive story that hopefully that horse will do incredible things. But I think bringing the racing community together, educating people who maybe don't know about some of the things that could unfortunately happen, and also the bright side of things. And obviously, we're happy to see that Joel Rosario is good as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And for people who don't know, I was reading a thing yesterday. Pretty Mischievous was the horse that won the race ultimately. They feel terrible about it. The owner and the trainer. They brought the carnations from the winning circle. They didn't do the winning circle ceremony in honor of Maple Leaf Mel, who really won the race. And the carnations are hanging outside Maple Leaf Mel's stable. And is that something that it's been like can the guests get back there? Can they see anything like that?
For the most part, unless you're an owner or in the media or something, it's tough to get back there unless someone brings you back there. But that's something that's bigger than the whole situation, right? Like Brendan Walsh, obviously a classy trainer. He's had a lot of success and he understands what this pain feels like as much as any trainer. Obviously, like you said, they opted to skip over to the winner's circle presentation, which was in good taste. In many other sports, they may have even opted to, they
didn't turn the money down though.
And they probably thought of, in some sports, they may have even considered a cancellation or something like that, where, like you said, the Whitney Day has become such a big day. Testa's on the undercard. It's basically become a Travers / Whitney meet. Travers is obviously the big race at the end of August, but Whitney has really made a big impact on the overall appearance characteristic of the track, and obviously it's a great day for attendance and handle. So to have something of that magnitude happen on a day like that, it's hard. It's a black eye for sure. It's not something that we could avoid, but to have a classy trainer like Walsh to skip the trophy presentation in the winner's circle and then bring her the bed of flowers the next morning to kind of let her have them, because as you said, she basically was going to be the winner until that happened. All class, and it's one of those beautiful parts of the game.
Now, she clearly was a top racehorse, a top filly. She was 5 for 5. She was feet from being 6 for 6. She never had a horse in front of her. How good could she have been? Is this a ruffian type of horse? Is it ruffian I know it's got the same type of story, but was she as good as Ruffian?
I wouldn't go that far, but also I wasn't a fan of the game with Ruffian. I do know that her situation was a bit different. It was on, I believe, it was in the backside of Belmont, so it wasn't at the finish line where thousands of people were watching in horror. But who knows how good this horse would have been? She's never lost, and she was only getting better. I mean, not only would that have been Melanie Gooding's first Grade 1, but it was that horse's first Grade 1. It was the biggest test that she'd ever had, and she
passed it with flying colors.
Was beating some great horses, including the eventual winner, Brendan Walsh's horse. Those are some great horses in that race, and the fact that she was able to do it, I'm sure she would have stayed in Great Stakes company for a long time until she wasn't able to perform that level. So I will never compare her to another horse. That's a very unique, sad situation, but she'll have a special place not just in my heart and at Saratoga, but everyone who was there or attached to the game anyway. There is a filly buried on the infield at Saratoga, Go for Wand. And she also passed away, unfortunately, at a young age, and they buried her. She's the only horse buried in the infield, and you got to think that they might, explore some kind of options like that. There's also the 4-Star Dave is tomorrow, the handicap race, and the 4-Star Dave was an excellent racehorse. He's a male, but they called him the Sultan of Saratoga. He won at Saratoga, like he is such a beast, and he's actually buried in the backside. He has a nice little gravestone back there next to a couple other horses. So there are some horses who are, further immortalized on the grounds around, and you would think that she'd be fitting of that as well.
Now, you guys are on Fox this year. There's Fox Saratoga Saturdays. Is this one of the biggest times that this has happened? I don't remember. I don't know if it's ever happened in a Triple Crown race, and it was just if you haven't seen the video, I don't suggest watching it because it's really terrible to watch. But it was just right. It was in front of America. You had a huge crowd. It was Whitney Day. It was on national television. Is this kind of the biggest one that you can remember?
Unfortunately, no. There was. I think it was the Kentucky Derby, 2008, 8 Bells. You may be not familiar with 8 Bells, but she was
it? I don't remember that.
Really coming out of the gate, and right out of the gate, it was catastrophic, and that was right from the get go. And you think the Whitney's big, or the Test is big, or even the Travers. I mean, the Kentucky Derby is by far the most popular American race in history, and it happened right there. And there's races named after 8 Bells. There's she is. I mean, like I said, usually fillies don't run against the boys in the Derby. she did. She was the only one in that race, I believe. It's tough, man, but she broke down, and these things do happen, but when they happen on such a scale, at such a magnitude, they're very, very hard to digest. Not that the ones that.
Yeah, but when it happens in front of America on national TV on one of the biggest days of the meet, I was there last year during the Whitney Day, and it was packed. It was a big crowds.
I was lucky.
So,
I got to, go to. I had my good friend's wedding out of town, down in like Delmar or whatever. So I was able to actually leave early and missed it in person, which I'm obviously. I got lucky in that regard and have to witness it, but it doesn't make me feel any better that thousands of other people had to witness it. So it's just a tough thing to swallow. I think that we're getting a little bit better. We're almost a week later, and I think things are starting to shape up a little bit better. Hopefully the weather stays good this weekend, and we can try to get some good, safe, healthy racing.
So now this weekend and going forward, as far as going to the Travers and everything, what do you guys got going on down there up there at Saratoga?
4-Star Dave is on Saturday. We also have our annual Saratoga Stumble party going on, and usually it usually is Whitney week, but with the
it's a drunken mess. I was there last year.
Push it off a week later. So again, pretty happy that we were able to kind of avoid the situation, even though it's still a reality. Then we have Alabama, which is kind of like the 3-year-old contest for the girls, for the Phillies, and then the following week is Travers Week. They kind of it's coined the Midsummer Derby. A lot of old timers and even new timers will kind of call it the fourth leg of the Triple Crown. If you have a horse that's able to stay sound and healthy and win, even one of the legs of the Triple Crown, if you could win all three of them and then win the Travers very, very hard. Even American Pharoah, Triple Crown winner, tried doing it and fell short and got second, trying the Travers. Because, first Saturday in May is a long time ago when you think about it in horse racing, time. It's a lot of travel, a lot of grueling competition. And obviously, it's late in the year. It's hot. It's humid. It's not easy for horses to do. You think the Belmont's tough. Try coming to win the Travers after you do that.
Yeah, so now tomorrow is Saturday. You have the Fox Saturday at Saratoga, so people will be watching. Give us a pick or two for tomorrow.
Tomorrow, it's funny because there's a horse that I like. My girlfriend's name is Anna, and and she actually lived in Annapolis for a while. And there's a horse Annapolis trained by Todd Pletcher. He came up and ran. He ran a couple weeks ago, and he didn't win. I think he got second. He did good. He's got IRAD aboard this time, and he's running in the 4-Star Dave. So we're going to stick to our guns and go with the horse. Unfortunately, not a boatload of value. A morning line 8-5, but we do like that horse in there with a pretty salty field of competitors. I do have a long shot in race 6 tomorrow. Number 3, Be Best, is 12-1 in the morning line. That should certainly hold some value. Inexperienced horses. So it's not the most informed decision, but that's how you tend to make your money. You got to go places where other people aren't putting their money and try to take some of theirs. And I'll give you one last one that I like. Another one, 5-1, race 10, Gut Feeling, Louis Saez aboard. So those last two should have a little bit of value.
What number is he?
He's number 1, Gut Feeling, in the 10th race. I believe Louis is on Gut Feeling and Be Best in race 6. So those are two that I like that should have some value. And you can't go wrong with the Pletcher horses. He has one other one, race 5, number 1, Eliminate. He's 9-5. So I gave you 2 Pletcher horses that are, 9-5, 8-5, but then I gave you a couple value plays that hopefully can bring some money.
All right. Well, it sucks that we're here under such crappy situations with Maple Leaf Mel, but she was a great horse. It happens. She loved to run. She loved to race. She never had a horse in front of her. She never lost a race. As far as I'm concerned, she never lost a race. And he gave you a couple winners. He's on the. Where can people find your picks if they want to get your picks?
Saratoga.com in the pink sheet. I think you go to sports section. You can just Google the pink sheet, Saratoga. We'll show up. If you're up at the track, you can buy the pink sheet right outside of the track from what they call the pink sheet hawkers. They're selling them all over the place.
If you see it, tell him you know me, and he'll give you one for free.
That's it. I'm not the one selling them, but the kid will tell you. The kid will give them to you for free. We've been doing really well this year. I've been doing well. I usually struggle the whole season. I'm doing all right this meet. So if I could keep going and moving out front and maybe take one, that'd be nice. But the whole paper's doing well. All 4 handicappers are doing exceptionally well, and looking forward to keeping it up.
All right, so his name is Sam Hollingsworth. Did I get it right this time? Because last time I screwed it up. All right. Pink Sheet Handicapper, Saratoga Stumble host. Thank you for giving us a couple minutes here, Sam.
Thanks for having me anytime, and I'm looking forward to a good, safe day.
All right, how about that? Thank you to Sam Hollingsworth. Thank you, Pie. That's what we call them in college, Pie. Thanks for coming on. That was a great interview. A lot of information there. A lot of information. Besides the couple winners that he gave you, and I'm definitely betting the long shot. But as far as the Maple Leaf Mel thing goes, I mean, you could see even he won't watch the video. He watched the video once. He won't watch it again. It's a devastating thing. And like I said, you're going to go. I know that if you haven't watched it, you're going to go watch it because out of curiosity, because that's what people do. You got to, rubberneck you to see the car accident and everything. But I caution you before you watch it because it's pretty tragic. But Rosario is a jock that I know, that I have heard of. So he's a big time jock. Thank God he was okay. And like I said, it's something that happens. It's a terrible thing, but it does come with the sport, and it doesn't happen very often. It's not something that happens all the time. But if you're around horse racing enough, it will happen, and you will see it. Like I said, this one was a little bit worse because it was in front of America on national TV, and it was such a big race, a Grade 1 race. But I do think what the horse that ended up getting the winning, actually winning the race, by default almost, because Maple Leaf Mel won that race. Let's be real. It was 3 lengths ahead with 20 feet to go. So she was the winner of the race, but officially she was not the winner. So I thought it was classy that the winning horse they passed on the winner's circle, and that means a lot. I mean, this is a Grade 1 race. Now, when you say Grade 1 race, you mean like you're talking like Kentucky Derby and Belmont Stakes are Grade 1s. The Travers are Grade 1. The Breeders' Cup races are are Grade 1 races. Like, these are as big as it gets. Big time prize money. Big time horses, big competition. It means everything to these owners. And when their horse wins, for him to forego the winner's circle ceremony and then to go and find the flowers that were meant for his horse and bring them to the stable of Maple Leaf Mel and have them hang there. Well, I mean, that's a classy move, I believe. And you got to feel for the trainer too. I read something about it. She hasn't even spoke to the media yet because she can't. She can't. They asked her to talk. They asked her if she wanted to talk about it, and she was breaking up. Just when she was telling them, no, I'm not ready to talk about it yet, she was breaking up, and she couldn't do it. So, it's a sad thing. It's terrible. I mean, I can't even watch it anymore. I've watched it a number of times. I have watched the video a number of times, and it's a terrible thing. So that's gonna pretty much do it for us here today. Like I said, Brett, we're hoping Brett gets back next week because I don't know how long I could do these single shows and talk to myself for an hour. I did promise you a guest last week, and look, I delivered. I got you Sam Hollingsworth, the big story of the week. I got him for you. Just a note: there is a local softball team in the softball Little League World Series from Massapequa. So all the best to the Massapequa women. The young girls playing in the Little League Softball World Series, the local team. There's always a local team for some reason around here. I don't think there's any in the Little League World Series. I got on one of the Mid-Atlantic Region Championship or something going on. So that's coming up. It's that time of year. I'd much rather watch that than any preseason football. I love the Little League World Series. It's good stuff. But as far as the big leagues go, listen, Yankees better get their act together. Yankees need to take 2 out of 3 this weekend in Miami. Not going to be easy. You got Cole going Sunday, to be determined tonight, and Cortez tomorrow afternoon. The Marlins are a good team. There you go. The Giants tonight against Detroit. The Jets and Aaron Rodgers with his first live action snaps in a real game against another team tomorrow night. So if you're inclined to, be bored for a couple hours, you want to throw on the preseason football game, go right ahead. So that does it for us. I will be back with you on Tuesday or Wednesday. I believe Tuesday, but it could be Wednesday with Mark Mancini. We released that episode yesterday. We're going to try and get it out earlier in the weekend. It's a weekend wrap-up. That's what it's called. So, I mean, we try to get it out as early as we can. So that pretty much does it. Like I said, a lot of good baseball tonight. Angels, Astros, Texas, Rangers, Giants, Padres, D-backs, Cubs, Blue Jays, Yankees, Marlins. All big series, all getting underway tonight. 3-game sets, all of them. Mets and Braves, if you really got nothing to do, from Citi Field. And that does it for me. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We want a special thanks to Sam Hollingsworth. Check him out. Don't forget those picks. Lay those bets. Lay those bets because he hit on the Derby last year for us. So lay those bets. Make some money. Sam, thank you again for coming and talking about it. I know it was a tough thing to talk about. It's a tough thing for all of us to listen to, and it's a tough thing for us to watch. So, in honor of Maple Leaf Mel. That does it for us, everybody. Talk to you later. I'm Bob Walters. See ya.